guys, how's it going? This is James Southers. This is the very first installment of my brand new show called The James Southers Show. I'm pretty excited about it. Basically, what my goal is I'm gonna be uploading videos about once a week, probably Tuesday, Wednesday kind of thing. What I'm gonna be doing is talking about some current events that are going on throughout the week, some of the big stories that everyone's talking about, that everyone wants to hear about. I'm gonna kind of put my own spin on some things. I like to be witty, come up with jokes, be funny. So hopefully you laugh at some of my jokes. If not, that's fine too. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments and all that stuff. And that's fine because I'll read everything. So anyway, so without further ado, might as well just start talking about some stuff, right? Halloween's coming up, right? It's not too far away. But the newest Halloween costumes that are coming down the pipeline that are really getting some attention, there's a lion killer dentist, okay? I'm sure everyone knows about the story about the dentist who went to Africa, shot Cecil. You know, they came out with a costume for it, okay? It's called the Lion Killer Dentist. It started off at $60, $59.99. And what they were doing was 15% of the proceeds was going to go to the African Wildlife Foundation, which I think is a really great idea. That price actually went up due to high demand. I don't know if that's just them trying to get more money off of it or what, but it went from $59.99 to $139.99, which I hope they're still doing the 15% profit because that's a lot more. Go ahead and buy it. You know, if you want to make a difference and you want to talk about doing some stuff, why don't you actually do something and buy the costume? And who cares if you wear it? Just buy it and the profit's going to it. But what I think is really funny is that PETA, okay, came out with a rebuttal costume, if you will, and it's actually the lion eating a dentist. So it's got like bloody scrubs and just kind of things like that. It's kind of clever. I'll give it to them. You know, you get a hand clap on that one. But it's the same price. It's $139.99, but they don't talk about having a donation going to anything, so they're going to be keeping all the profits. If you are going to do something and you want to do it for a good cause, I know it's $140, but if you're going to spend it anyways, you know, at least make it worth it. You know what I'm saying? Something else I want to talk about, just because there are so many out there, and for some reason it's hot topics nowadays and things like that, is the conspiracy theories. I don't really believe in them. I will entertain the idea of them, but some of them are interesting, and I picked 3 of the ones that I thought definitely were worth bringing up. For instance, one of the first ones was a German historian. His name was Herbert Illig. He actually believes that 300 years of our history actually never happened. The years were 614 to 911 AD. And he said they were forged, which I think is quite funny. But if we go off of the exact number of years that he has, we are actually in the year of 1708, so we shouldn't have internet, we shouldn't have vehicles. But if it really is 1708, I guess the prediction of having flying cars by 2020 probably seems more realistic now. So I'm pretty excited about that one. Another one that I thought was quite funny was, obviously there's the theory of, you know, we never landed on the moon, it was all staged, you know, it was a little, you know, a set that people went on dressed up like astronauts, and it showed that we were on the moon. Okay, and you know, believe what you want, that's totally fine. I have no thing one way or another, but there's people who take it the next step. You know, they actually believe the moon isn't real. So basically what they believe is that there's something up in space shooting a hologram down of the moon. So the moon's not real, and the reason why they can tell, you know, what shapes it's going to be and how it's going to be a full moon and when it's going to be a blue moon or a blood red moon and all that kind of thing is because they control it. You know, it's back to the whole government controlling the weather theories. I just think it's funny that people think the moon is a hologram, just like the bat signal in Batman. You know, it shows up in the sky, and next thing you know, here comes Moon Man, here to save the day, flying through the sky as a normal man who maybe he was scarred by the moon when he was young, and, you know, he wears a crescent moon on his chest. Maybe that's where Sailor Moon came from, if you guys remember the cartoon. There you go. That's a new conspiracy theory. The next one I got, which is actually a little saddening to me that people would actually go to these links. You've heard about the Virginia News shooting, you know, on live TV. the woman and the cameraman were shot and killed, and then later on the gunman took his own life, which I honestly believe is probably the least manly way to go out. I mean, if you're gonna kill people, you deserve what's coming to you. But it is what it is, and that's what happened. But on conspiracy theories, people actually believe that it was staged and it wasn't real. They believe that watching the videos, even though you had two videos of both sides, the camera was just falling to the ground, and from the camera's view, and then the gunman actually took a video of himself, from a point of view version, if you will, and he uploaded it himself, and people are like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, people don't want guns, they're trying to control the guns, and it's like, you think that they're going to go through those links of trying to stage people's deaths to get the people against guns to come out of the woodwork? They don't need to do all that. There are already people out there who don't want people to have guns. They should ban guns, which actually leads me to my next conversation I want to have that I'm not going to take too long on, because once again, everyone's going to have their own thoughts on this stuff, but I'm just talking about some stuff that I feel is good and what we should have in the world, at least in the United States, and that's open carry. Okay, I feel that if criminals knew more people had guns, and like they saw, if they saw grandma carrying around, a 22 on her hip, they're probably not going to try and grab her purse. You know what I'm saying? And the people who are like, oh, well, we need to get gun laws and take them away and, make guns illegal. Okay, that's fine. I just want you to realize that they're criminals, meaning they break the law anyways. So I just want you to think about that. Because just because you pass a law saying that people can't have guns doesn't necessarily mean that criminals are going to turn in all their guns. They're like, all right, you got me. Here you go. I'm going to pay attention to this one law. So that's my take on that. So now let's switch up a little bit. Okay, let's liven up a little bit. I saw a poll recently, actually, a really good friend of mine. He sent me a link to a website that had something. It was a map of the U.S. and it was titled "The Most Shameful Google Searches in the United States," and a couple of them really stood out to me because I had to chuckle. Okay, for instance, Missouri. Missouri's most Googled search was vajazzling. I don't know if you know what that is. If you don't, I'm not going to explain it. You can Google it yourself, and then wherever you live, maybe it'll skyrocket there too, and you'll have 2 states with vajazzling. I don't know. But I just thought that was funny that, there's nothing there to see, nothing there to do, so let's just vajazzle everywhere, right? I don't know if there's more women than men there, but, I've heard of men vajazzling. Do what you do. Not my thing. And then Mississippi. Mississippi's, claim to fame of their Google searches is actually the enlargement of their unit. I think you know what I mean by their unit. And I think the reasoning is because they know, just a little bit to the northwest, they're going vajazzling and they're making their unit all pretty. And so they're like, well, we gotta perform for them, they gotta increase their unit for the vajazzling. The next state, Idaho, which known for potatoes. I love potatoes, a lot of carbs. I love it. But Idaho, their most searched hacky sack, which I think is quite funny, because hacky sack isn't the most entertaining of games. Okay, it's not 2000 anymore. And the reason why I believe that they're looking it up is because they heard about this concept of hacky sack. And since they're known for potatoes, that's all they got up there, right? So they've been kicking around potatoes and playing hacky sack with potatoes and probably having a lot of, foot injuries, if you will, broken feet, toes, that kind of thing. You kicked it wrong and things like that. So they got to look it up to kind of spice it up a little bit and actually know how to kick a hacky sack, which is a beanbag and not a potato. Last one, New Mexico. They are loving the movie The Hot Chick, which is starring Rob Schneider. New Mexico's always looking them up, and I'm like, that's what they most search, their most shameful Google search. And I laugh thinking, is there nothing else there? Is there nothing else that you could be searching for or doing in New Mexico that you got to look up the hot chicks? My opinion, what New Mexico should do, listen to me, New Mexico. I got a great business plan for you. Get a lot of airports, get planes, and get direct flights from New Mexico to Missouri, because I hear they got a lot of great artwork there. If you know what I'm saying. Next thing that I want to get into is a segment that I'm going to start doing. Every episode, different variations of this kind of game. I'm calling it the Urban Dictionary Word of the Day. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a word that I found on Urban Dictionary. Obviously, hence the name Urban Dictionary Word of the Day. I'm going to give you the word and the definition. And the game is to come up with a different name for the same definition. Does that make sense? So today's word, or this week's word, if you will, is going to be acupester. It means to annoy someone by poking them with a sharp object, such as a pin, a pencil, or a fingernail. Now that's the definition that was given there for acupester. I want to hear what you guys think a really good word for that would be. So there's Urban Dictionary Word of the Day. So let's move quickly into the next topic here. I don't know if you guys know this, but they stopped making Hummers. Okay, and I think it has to do with the fact that the Army got rid of the Humvee. Okay, and everyone, the question's been, well, what are they going to replace it with? We need some kind of a vehicle like that. So they finally came up with a decision. They said that it will be ready to go and in full force by 2018, that fiscal year. So it'll be interesting to see them, I want to see them in life, in real life, not coming at me to destroy me, but at least to see one maybe at a show or something. The name of the vehicle is called the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle, or for short, you got the JLTV, which I like the Humvee better. I mean, that name's kind of cool. The JLTV, they've got so many, codes and acronyms and things like that. Like, I'm surprised people don't get confused. I would. The company that actually got the contract, which, if you know anything about, weapons and military things, Lockheed Martin is at the top. Okay, Lockheed Martin is the best of the best at what they do in military and weaponry and vehicles and all of those things. But Oshkosh, yes, you heard me right, Oshkosh actually won that contract. I have 3 kids, okay, I have 3 little kids, and Oshkosh to me is children's clothes, which I think is really funny that now they're making assault vehicles. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to run. I mean, obviously it's a good performer because of the fact that they beat Lockheed Martin. Just my thought on that. So, changing subjects again, the McWhopper was a proposal from, guess who? Burger King. They took the whole adage of, if you can't beat them, join them, right? They turned that all around and used it to their advantage. And, they're number 2, I think. It's either them or Wendy's. One way or another, they're not number 1. So what do? They go to number 1. They're like, hey, we're never going to beat you. You guys have a presence. You guys are everywhere. You're all around the world. Let's make a burger together where we, we'll take your special sauce. We'll take our meat. We'll do this. We'll do the buns. And let's make one burger and call it the McWhopper. I'll give you one guess as to what they said. McDonald's politely declined and said, if you have any other business things, we can talk about those later. But as far as this one's concerned, no. We're not going to move forward with that because it makes sense. When you're number 1 and number 2 comes up to you and says, hey, can we partner together? It'll kind of mutually benefit us. No, it won't. It's all about them. Now, Burger King was number 1 and came down to McDonald's and said, hey, you guys are number 2, let's help you out. Okay, makes more sense. I'm sure McDonald's would have jumped all over that if they were smart businessmen. But McDonald's is number 1, and they don't need to partner with Burger King. I was on the interweb the other day, and I saw this interesting title for an article. And a lot of times I know they have these click traps, where it gives you this this insane title of a name for an article, and it has nothing to do with the article, but it's supposed to capture your attention, or it takes whatever the article's about, kind of drives it to a whole new level to get your attention. And this one got me, but I thought it was intriguing enough that I wanted to talk about it. So TMZ was randomly caught up with the Hulkster himself, Hulk Hogan, and asked him a couple of questions. Obviously, first and foremost, they asked him about the WWE and, what he thought about the WWE and if he has bad blood for him, seeing as Hogan literally went from, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time to not even being on their website. None of his merchandise was available for purchase. They basically just kind of wiped their hands clean and was like, Hulk Hogan who? Because of, this everything that happened with him, the sex tape and the racial comments that he made when he didn't even know he was being recorded, which, an infringement on his rights, but it's out there and it really ruined him. But the latter part of the interview that happened, the person interviewing Hulk Hogan asked him, if you were able to put a presidential candidate into the ring with you to wrestle, who would it be? He didn't answer, right? He kind of laughed it off and was like, oh, you're being silly, whatever. And then the guy asked him, well, what about Donald Trump? Would you want to put him in the ring? And Hogan responded with a great line and said, no, I would rather be his running mate. And then he proceeded to say, Vice President Hogan. That's got a nice ring to it. I think that would be craziness that would be happening to our country. Just think about it. Donald Trump as president, Hulk Hogan as vice president. But just imagine Trump on a conference call with some other country's leader and just starts calling them losers and whatever he wants to call them. And then you've got Hulk Hogan as his background man. It's like, if you have issues, I'll send Hulk Hogan over there and he'll give you a leg drop. And you don't want a leg drop from the Hulkamaniac. I think it'd be great. We'd probably be laughed at quite a bit in our country. You got Donald Trump, who's never been in politics, businessman kind of thing. And you got Hulk Hogan as your vice president. I don't know what better of an image than Donald Trump with his real hair and Hulk Hogan hanging out of a assault vehicle made by a company that makes children's clothes, ready to go give some leg drops. Nothing better, my opinion. Last segment here that I want to get into is actually something that I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with, and it's called Journal Readings from a Celebrity. As you know, celebrities are always in the limelight. They're always getting talked about. And it's always, what are they doing? What are they doing to mess up their career, their life? What's going on, right? But this week is about Jared Fogle, the old Subway spokesman, which hopefully you've heard the story. Really saddening, especially because I have 2 young girls. If I would have known that he did that to my kids, I probably would have attacked him, not asked for money. He wouldn't have been making it to jail, if you know what I'm saying. Hypothetically, but let's get right into this. We got Jared Fogle. Allegedly, we have Jared Fogle's journal here, and I'm gonna read from the journal here from Jared Fogle. Dear Journal, welp, I got caught. I didn't think it would ever happen. I paid off Moody and told him I was getting help for the way I felt towards kids. He bought every word of it. Then little Miss Cindy comes into the picture to try and rat me out. Just because I told her she was too old for me. Whatever, man. At least there was only 14 of the minors that came forward, which that's a little disgusting. Come on, Jared. Otherwise, I'd be in debt for life. Wow. Pay $1.4 million? I'll take that. And only 5 to 12 years? I can live with that too. But maybe I'll find Russell and kill him off to fit in a little bit better with the crowd. Since he did try and do it himself, and he failed, but I won't. You know, I must say, that girl from Craigslist was great. She was very helpful towards all my needs. The other miners were good too. Thailand, whole new ballgame over there. Glad I went, that's for sure. Not sure exactly when I'll return to you, my friend. But when I do, I'll be full of stories about the newest edition on the 6-inch and foot-long specials. The words of Jared Fogle on his alleged last words of his journal after the sentencing, after all the information came out. That's just disgusting. That's horrible, Jared. That one's really bad. But sorry I had to end it on a bad note. That was my journal reading. But guys, with that, I'm done. End of my first episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys got at least a laugh or two out of it. And with that being said, guys, thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff. Give me some ideas. Give me your new words for the definition for the Urban Dictionary word of the day. And guys, with that, look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks.